All right, so it's been such a pleasant night. I hate to talk about guns, but I do want to make one point because I shouldn't ignore this. It was a giant story this week. We had another mass shooting at the Navy Yard in Washington, D.C., and we went through the whole ritual. We saw it on television and the news coverage, and then Obama spoke. And Obama said a few words about it, and then he went on to another subject. And I saw a lot of conservative commentators say, how dare he on a day of a shooting? And I wanted to say every day in America is a day of a shooting.
Plus, they should be, they should be happy because the entire argument that's been made by people who are sort of gun rights maximalists is that essentially, you know, we are making too much of this, right? That this is just either the product of insane people or it's the product of just horrible things happening the way that, like, sometimes 28-year-olds get stricken with cancer and that's terrible and stuff just happens and we pick up the pieces and move on. That is the argument that the right has been making, that the NRA has been making, that there aren't actually policy solutions to this and we shouldn't overreach. And so what they should want, their end goal should be a time which they've managed to achieve, and it's quite ghastly to contemplate, in which the president just says a few words about it and then moves on.
The president is...
I think that's what we should do. Or not even say a few words about it.
You think the same thing? You think we should just, like...
For different reasons, but yes, because we're never going to do anything about this, and I'm tired of hearing about the shooters. I don't care about them. I don't care about what we know for sure. What I know for sure is we're not going to do anything because both parties love guns. Joe Biden said, buy a shotgun. That's what this guy did. He bought a shotgun.
Things will be done, but the less the president says, the more likely they are to happen. The way change comes is through changes in public consciousness. It's going to be like the temperance movement when it comes.
But most people are against these
what is going to
doesn't matter.
It isn't a question of...
But he's saying the public consciousness. The consciousness is there already.
Families to make a decision. The reason most people buy guns, very few people hunt anymore, they buy guns to make their families safe. As people understand the facts, because that's what they're buying handguns, and most people buy guns never kill anybody. But the tragedy is not these. The tragedy is that these things turn out to be wrong. That people buy guns and they discover they've elevated the suicide risk inside their house. There's one study that finds if you have a gun in the house, it's 43 times more likely to be used against a family member than against an intruder. So just don't have one. You don't need laws, just don't have one.
And to that end, one of the things that... One of the things about gun ownership in America I think is underappreciated is that there are two trends happening. The percentage of households, American households with guns, is actually declining, and the number of guns is going up.
Right.
Which is essentially a smaller and smaller group are buying more and more guns.
And that gets to my point of why I'm against promoting this, or at least reporting on it so much, is because the NRA, which I call the assassins lobby, because that's really what they are, their main thing is not even to protect gun owners, it's to sell more guns. Right. And what sells guns? Fear. And what helps that? Reporting on gun instances. So if we're not going to do anything and we're just going to report, it's just disaster porn.
But then among the people of responsibility who can change it are the people who produce local news. Because what it is really, it seems to be a fact, as best I can tell, that one of the things that shapes people's consciousness of how dangerous their environment is what they see on their local news.
But they thrive on sensationalism.
And American society becomes safer and safer. There probably were last year fewer crimes than in any year in the history of the Republic.
Right.
And probably fewer violent crimes. The statistics get bad before 1974 and really bad before World War II, but probably fewer violent crimes than at any time in the history of the Republic. You're safe. You don't need a weapon to protect yourself. And if that fact can percolate, people will make better public health decisions.
And to pick up on your other point, I agree. I don't think it does any good to keep poking the right and poking the gun owners and saying, why are you the people who like dead babies? You know, I kind of got that when Obama was saying that about Syria. He was saying, if you're not for bombing Syria, then you like dead babies because they kill dead babies. And I'm like, I'm not for dead babies. I just don't agree with your approach to killing more babies with a cruise missile. And I think, you know, we're not going to get gun control by forcing the gun nuts into a corner and literally clinging to their guns. And
we need to have an understanding of the way in which American society makes progress. You know, just compared to 1990, the average American drinks 23% less. And that's some legal changes, but
there are legal changes.
Some legal changes, yeah. Raise the drinking age in the 1980s. Smoking is
because they outlawed it in places where
we're on the wrong track with drugs, unfortunately. Those have been going up.
Especially on this show.
A matter of debate. But I must conclude this debate.